Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Christensen.
I'm Jennifer Meckles. The city of Denver started sending out layoff notices today. We now know more than 170 city employees will lose their jobs.
9 News reporter Spencer Soicher is following this for us tonight. And Spencer, this is the city's way of saving a lot of money.
Yeah, Mayor Mike Johnston's office says Denver has a budget shortfall of $50 million for the remainder of this year and an estimated $200 million for next year. The mayor has said this is coming, but the actual number of job losses was released this afternoon. And while it'll take a couple days for all the notices to go out, the layoffs are effective immediately. D-Day for City of Denver employees is here, though the actual news of the layoffs is being spread out over multiple days.
The layoff notices are going to be going all week long, so it's only Monday, so we got the rest of the week to find out.
City workers and union reps knew this was coming because Mayor Mike Johnston said it was, but we didn't know how many jobs were on the chopping block until now. The city is laying off 171 employees, about 1.6% of the city's workforce. The bulk of the layoffs will come by not filling 665 open positions, 6% of the city workforce. The mayor's office says it also plans to shift 92 positions to a non-general fund source of funding. All in, it's 928 positions off the city's payroll, an 8.4% reduction.
Couldn't find the way to keep 171 people because we have a $50 million and a $200 million gap. I call BS on it.
It's fewer layoffs than some expected. But for the people affected, it's all the same.
Unfortunately, my husband, Scott Gilmore, was one of those city employees laid off.
At Monday's city council meeting, Councilwoman Stacy Gilmore fought back tears. Her husband lost his job with Denver Parks and Rec. Like many on the council, Gilmore has been critical of the mayor's layoffs.
He is a 61-year-old man that only wanted to serve out the last 4 years of his time till he was 65.
And the layoffs aren't done. Only some of the 171 have gotten their notices as the job fears continue into tomorrow.
It's worrying, it's not knowing, it's just being in suspense. You kind of have the butterflies in the stomach all day long. And
one laid-off worker told me tonight that he was assured his job was safe. He spent the last 8 years with the city before he later found out he was laid off today. And even though workers knew cuts were coming, the mayor's office still isn't saying which departments are going to be affected and by how much. Spencer Soicher, 9 News.
Well, it was a cooler start to the week across the metro, but the hot, dry weather will make a return starting tomorrow with record highs possible by midweek. Just when we thought we would get a break, Kathy.
I know. It's still summer though, right? It's still August in Colorado. And so we are back in a little mini heat wave starting tomorrow after a nice reprieve today. For much of the day, temperatures held in the 80s and some areas saw some beneficial rain. That line of storms is tracking east tonight. Severe thunderstorm watch has canceled out. We're now 75 in Denver, 68 at DIA and 71 in Fort Collins. The winds thankfully are a lot lighter with the exception of areas in and around Lyman where thunderstorms are still going this evening, and we're still looking at outflow boundaries from storms tracking into Nebraska and Kansas. Pretty good rain, lightning, and thunder. 1-inch diameter hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds from Lyman to Burlington. It appears as though things are starting to settle down, and we'll get kind of a quiet overnight period. High pressure is headed back into Colorado tomorrow, and that will limit the amount of moisture for afternoon storms. So enjoy the cool temperature trend overnight tonight. We are back to the mid-90s before you know it. Details on that and another weather pattern change by the weekend.
We are now getting to see the surveillance video that jurors watched before they convicted James Craig of murder. It shows the moments leading up to the poisoning death of his wife, Angela, in 2023. 9 News Investigates obtained this surveillance video captured in the couple's kitchen. It was recorded after 2 days of hospital visits that failed to pinpoint the cause of Angela's weakness and dizziness. Angela was angry about things that James had said that led doctors to treat her differently.
It's your fault they treated me like I was a suicide risk, like I did it to myself. And like nothing I said could be believed.
Prosecutors also showed jurors video of Craig making his wife a protein shake. Lab tests later showed there was poison in that pink-topped container. It wasn't just that video that helped seal his fate. Video from the hospital shows Craig emerging from a bathroom with an object in his hand. Prosecutors argued that was a syringe loaded with cyanide. He later entered his wife's hospital room and less than a minute later reported she was suffering with arm pain. Angela died that day. James Craig was sentenced to life in prison without parole plus 33 years. He's been transferred to the Colorado Department of Corrections, where he is now serving out that sentence.
New tonight, Denver's East High School now has 2 gender-neutral bathrooms. The district created another one months after a federal investigation started. Back in January, the U.S. Department of Education announced a Title IX investigation into the school's first gender-neutral bathroom. The feds claimed the bathroom violated the law that protects everyone in an academic institution from discrimination on the basis of sex. That was because DPS converted a girls' restroom, making it gender neutral. So to even things out, now the district says it just converted a boys' restroom on the same floor.
It does seem to be pretty much right on target in terms of addressing the concerns that they had removed a set of bathrooms that were private for girls and made them all gender. And so now they've made a whole nother set of bathrooms all gender, returning the numbers of bathrooms that were for boys and for girls back to kind of a parity status.
The district says students will continue to have access to gender-specific restrooms as well as gender-neutral bathrooms throughout that school.
Most students in the Poudre School District will be released early for a second straight week because of the heat. The district says they will dismiss most students 2 hours early on all week long. As you can see, there's a list of impacted schools on your screen. But if forecasted temperatures drop below 90 degrees, not looking like that for the next couple of days, all schools will operate on a normal schedule. District leaders say they will reevaluate the forecast on Wednesday to see if they need to make any changes to the plan.
A woman from Louisville called Steve on your side after she had an expensive package rerouted, then stolen. Alyssa Cassignol says she went with her family to buy her husband a $1,000 record player, replacing a vintage record player that he lost when their home burned in the Marshall Fire. Well, she was following the UPS tracking number from Sonos, realized the destination of the shipment changed from her house to a UPS store in Broomfield. And then when she got to the UPS store, she was told someone came in about an hour earlier with a copy of her driver's license and picked up the package. They showed her the surveillance video.
What'd she look like?
Nothing like me. Very, very like polar opposite in terms of looks. She actually had pulled out of her pocket a sheet of paper that supposedly they said was a notarized copy of my driver's license. I feel a little violated, I'm not gonna lie. I can't be the first person this has happened to. I know I'm not the last person this has happened to. And I've talked to multiple people who have had something similar happen to them.
UPS told Steve on your side that its security team investigated this case and found Alyssa was the victim of a social engineering fraud scheme. They would not elaborate on what that means. Alyssa told us she never gave out any information about her UPS account or even responded to any messages. Now, Broomfield police are investigating. If you have any information, you can call their non-emergency line.
Mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots.
President Trump made those comments today in the Oval Office. He's targeting mail-in voting the way 90% of Coloradans vote.
Colorado clerk and recorders are now pushing back, saying this is a violation of states' rights. Here's 9 News reporter Rachel Krause.
Last November, these ballot boxes stayed busy as people came by to drop off their mail-in ballots. Now President Trump wants to eliminate this as an option altogether.
The president who says that he wants safer and more secure elections is advocating for policies that will do the exact opposite and make our elections less accurate and less secure.
Matt Crane is the director of the Colorado County Clerks Association. He says the president's announcement wasn't unexpected, but it's still not what they wanted to hear.
It's incredibly frustrating and infuriating that this is happening right now, all based on lies. Elections are essentially a state and local function. And so this vast federal overreach, this power grab, to change the way we do elections, all because he's misguided in thinking that the election was stolen from him in 2020. It's a very dangerous precedent, not just for this, but down the line.
This is challenging the Constitution. You know, the division of federal rights and the division of states' rights is what it comes down to.
Steve Schleicher is the Republican clerk and recorder in El Paso County. He says mail-in voting is incredibly popular.
98% of the voters here in El Paso County do mail-in.
Schleicher says their elections, majority mail-in voting, are safe, fair, and accurate. He knows some are skeptical.
My mom was one that absolutely believed that everything was fraud, she wasn't going to vote, and I never knew my mom not to vote.
Schleicher says transparency can build trust in mail-in systems. Schleicher has done that in El Paso County by letting people look up adjudicated ballots, adding a 24/7 ballot box live stream. But eliminating mail-in voting altogether, he says that raises big questions.
What does that mean about our military and overseas voters?
It's not anything I've ever seen before, and it's not welcome or warranted either.
Crane says Trump's proposal steps on states' rights, with potential to deeply change Colorado elections.
We believe in the proper role of government. The federal government has their lane. They should stay in their lane. Here in Colorado, we run accessible, safe, secure elections. We'll stay in ours.
Clerks I spoke with today say even if the president's plan moves forward, they expect this won't hold up in court. In Denver, Rachel Krause, 9 News.